Welcome to a brand new episode of Partial Intelligence with Chris McIntyre and Jason Donglitter. Join us as we delve into the world of mental health as adults, unravel the significance of our children's well-being on our own lives, and reminisce about the nuances of growing up with our parents. From exploring the challenges of modern-day parenthood to discussing how raising kids today differs from our own upbringing. Get ready for a rollercoaster of emotions, insights, and plenty of aha moments. Just a heads up, this episode may touch on explicit language and sensitive topics, so buckle up your seatbelt and let's ride. We invite you to join our community of like-minded individuals by sharing with others and reaching out to us at mcmedia.network.llc@gmail.com. So sit back, relax, and get ready for a wild ride with Chris and Jason on Partial Intelligence, the podcast where we explore the depths of our minds and hearts. Let's dive in. The views expressed are those of the host and guests, and listener discretion is advised.
Now we're recording. And this is the Partial Intelligence Podcast. And I'm Chris McIntyre. Jason is Bruce. On the Partial Intelligence Podcast, we kind of just fuck around. We talk about real shit, and we have some good times, some good laughs, and we see what's going on in the world today. You know?
We're going to be talking about a little bit more serious subject, a couple of them, but we'll probably bounce into our usual bullshit. But we got a little more serious topics that we like to talk about, because maybe, you know.
Yeah, and I think, you know, when we talked about this episode, a lot of what's going on in my life anyway has to do with mental health, especially like the last 3 years. And I've been going through, you know, watching and helping my children grow up. I can see their challenges, and it's reminding me of how I used to be, like things that I've forgotten about when I was really, really young. Especially like about anxiety and just that need or that want that everybody has to feel like normal and accepted among their peers. Like as a young kid, only certain situations made me feel like that. Like playing baseball made me feel normal. Playing football made me feel normal. Playing music, like those things made me feel normal. But outside of those things, I remember just having crippling anxiety. And to a certain extent, I still do today. You know, it's been fucking crazy. I know. No, you're good.
I was just going to say, I can definitely relate to that, you know, to a point. Like the anxiety though, and the stress and the distress, I think is different. Of course, like everything else, you know, it's magnified, you know. But we were, maybe, I don't know though, because we were just taught to deal with it different. We were taught to accept it different and portray everything different, you know. Like me, I didn't play football. It wasn't. It was a little bit of anxiety, but it was because I was fat. It's because I didn't want to wear the fucking tight pants.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like, it didn't have anything to do with me not being fast or anything. It was how people see me. You know what I mean? Like, and now we're in a time where people have everything under a microscope, but everything's accepted more as a whole, but they still have the same mentality as like our generation. You know what I'm saying? Kinda.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like big girls. I love the fact that big girls are wearing what they're wearing. Some of them go a little too far, but to have the confidence and to have the, you know, what they have to wear it out in public and be comfortable with it, like, makes me happy. But you know, if you talk to them, they still feel shitty, even though they still wear that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's weird how they can feel one way, but still do something that still makes them feel comfortable and uncomfortable at the same time. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, because before we wouldn't do it. But now they do it.
Right.
Even if people are looking at them, they're like, I don't give a shit. And even if I do give a shit, I'm still going to do it. As to where in our time, it wasn't like that. It was like, okay, we're big. Don't wear that. You're skinny. Don't wear that, you know? Now it's just like fucking, you know, I try to tell my girl that all the time, you know? Who gives a shit? Like, people really don't care anymore like that, you know? Like,
right.
Like nowadays, I would love to walk around like with my mom, because you remember my mom, she was big. She was really big. And growing up, you know, I had to deal with her getting made fun of and all types of shit. Grew up in the 80s. That's how it was.
Yeah.
Now it wouldn't be like that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It would just be like more comfortable, to walk around, and she wouldn't have to fucking deal with that shit, because she dealt with it.
Do
Luckily,
you
my
think
mom.
we've gotten better as a whole society on dealing with that?
Yes, definitely.
I
Like,
think I think I agree with that.
even though it's still fucked up, again, that's for me, that's the perfect example of my mom. Before I was walking around with a fat lady. Look at her. Now it's just like everyone's fat, everyone's skinny, everyone's got tattoos, everyone's got fucking lip piercing. Like she wouldn't stand out like she did. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Because it wasn't, you know, people have gotten. I wonder what the statistic on obesity and overweightness from just say 1990 right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It feels like there's been a fitness revolution like worldwide almost. At least like all my social media pages are kind of flooded with a lot of fitness content creators. Probably because I follow them and I work out a lot, but it seems like the world is trying to be healthier, or at least in my feed.
Might be, but America is poisoning more shit. Like I
Right.
seen a picture of someone took a picture of like the 70s or 80s or something like that, and it was like a big view at like, I don't know, they were like at Wild Waters or something, but it wasn't, in Reno, it was somewhere else. Anyway, it just took an aerial view and it showed all the people, and the caption read something like, look at everybody. Every single person that you see is in shape. Look
Right.
what America's food has done to us. And it's true. You know what I mean? Like, if you took a picture, that same picture in that same place, I bet you everybody would be overweight.
It is so hard, and even in my life right now, it's hard to eat healthy. Like it takes a lot of effort.
And you don't know what really is healthy, because
Right.
nowadays peanuts are unhealthy, broccoli's unhealthy. Oh wait, but cereal's healthy.
Parsley is going to kill you.
Dude, have you seen the fucking food pyramid nowadays? Like,
No.
it's not even the same shit. Like, there's studies that are telling you that cereal is fucking healthier than, like, a fucking vegetable or something. I can't remember the exact one, but it's just, at the same time, like you said, there's this big health craze going on and all this shit, but yet there's still that. And I think it's just what we focus on, because everything that's happening today, except like AI shit, was happening back then. You didn't get to see it. It's like they talk about it in music all the time. You couldn't get your music out there unless you literally went out there
to the CD store with your CD.
Yeah, or go, pull a Jay-Z and fucking sell records out the back of your fucking shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, you don't even need to leave home. You don't even need to leave your house, and you can make a full studio record and do everything, produce it,
post it. You can
post it, fucking
copyright it. You can do every facet of production
by yourself too. You don't even need help, unless you're me.
Definitely you need a ton of help.
I think,
ladies and gentlemen, we do appreciate you listening to Partial Intelligence, but a little disclaimer on my friend Jason here. Yeah, we're friends, but he's just one of those, the slower kids from my past that I kind of felt bad for. So I just keep him around.
I moved to the other side of the country to get as far as away from him as possible.
That's right.
But I knew I could continue to talk to him because it's a different world. So
yeah, dude. So when we were growing up, what was like your biggest anxieties as a kid? I'll tell you mine. When I was a freshman in high school, like I remember having the worst anxiety around. I think that's probably why I quit playing football too. Like my freshman year is the last year I played, because I remember when we started practicing at the beginning of the season, the coach said that we were expected to take showers after practice and after the games.
Fucking A.
And at that time, I was a late bloomer, so I didn't have any hair yet. Like I didn't know I was going through puberty, so I had the biggest anxiety over having to take a shower. So after practice and after games, I would sneak out of the locker room and not do it. But those, overcoming that anxiety, I remember now, is just so strong. And I had that feeling around a lot of different things in my life, small things like that. And I think that's really what led me to medicate myself with like alcohol, because I always had that anxiety.
And it's crazy too, because coming coming from a person like you, well, at least like if you know you, like from me, from my outlook, you telling me that, like I not like I knew, but because you're such a confident person and you're always been that way. You hide your shit well. You
Yeah.
hide your shit well. That's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
from my perspective and everybody's perspective, you're the most confident person in the world. Nobody knew that. Nobody in the world knew that. I'm probably the only person that kind of knew that you had a little bit of a normal. You know what I mean? Because when you're on
Yeah.
the outside looking in, people don't seem normal. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I'm gonna bring up, Bo Server, and and these are my buddies, but I wonder what their shit was. You know what I mean? Because they were the cool
Right.
kids. They didn't have
Yeah.
problems with anybody. And I don't know why he came to my mind, but just.
But I think that was our perspective.
But he was that same person. He was confident, never fucking down. Always like, just always fucking.
Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah, never unconfident of anything. And that's how. And you were kind of taught to believe that, and maybe that's why you hit it. Like for me, the same thing. Going into fucking taking a shower with other dudes. Wearing those pants is the only reason I didn't play. And that
Right.
was a huge anxiety. And even baseball. And I don't know why, because everybody that I would have played baseball with in high school, I played baseball with. At
Your whole
Government
childhood.
Field, my whole fucking life. But I think it was knowing that you had to travel and other people would see you. Because I was kind of comfortable with my setting. I knew everybody knew me and I was the fat kid.
Yeah.
I knew that. Everybody knew that me and Ben Veter and Nick Giffens were the bigger boys.
The big boys.
And Luke Chavez.
Who was a big boy?
You weren't fat though. We were fat. We were fatties.
Yeah.
we were fatties. You know what I mean? We didn't, it's not like it hindered our game, except we were a little slower on base pads.
Right.
But other than that, it was like, and shout out to all those dudes. They're all, good people, and I see all their shit, and it makes me happy because they're all fucking, living a fucking better life than me. But again,
dude, yeah, we are in a unique situation, like us being, how old we are and when we grew up, that we have a unique situation. Our generation is probably the first one that has the opportunity with social media to view everyone they went to school with and watch them grow up with their families, watch how they become parents, watch how they end up in prison or whatever it is,
Dude, and like all those people, I mean, it fucking makes me so happy because they're doing it. You know what I mean? They're living life, and they like, they moved on, and they didn't stay in that world because a lot of popular people from high school stay in that world.
Yeah.
I'm that person, and most of those people, when I see their Facebook shit, it's like it's wholesome. It's all wholesome shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's weird growing up, like staying inside the place where you grew up. Like you have a distorted image about everything else. Like I didn't really know what I would call shitty I grew up until after I moved. Until I moved here, looking back at how, we grew up, it wasn't that great, And it had nothing to do with my parents, nothing to do with your parents, just the environment that we were coming up in. It was really conducive to, I don't see a path out of like how I was destined to be drinking and doing that stuff,
it's
just
like
because of how
almost,
right.
Because I mean, a little bit is our parents not
A little bit
pushing us to be better, because
right.
Your mom, like we always talked about, just like my mom.
Yes.
Little Chris and little Jason, they can't do anything wrong.
Yep.
Fucking, you know what I mean? So
right.
It is a little bit of their fucking fault. And then our dads fucking were just like submissive to our moms. So they're like, fuck that. I ain't doing shit. My son's gonna love me, and that's that.
But now coming up and getting older, like I'm experiencing that right now, to where like, the boys will ask me because I'm bendable. They'll ask me something. And I'm like, dude, you gotta ask your mom about that. And then they get all disheartened, like, it's like, dude,
right?
Yeah,
because you can't be like your dad.
No,
he was too cool. Your dad was fucking too awesome. My
I
dad was
know.
too cool. Like,
Yeah.
fucking dickheads, you know. And
Rest in peace, Dad. I miss you.
all right, fucking same thing, you know.
You
But
too, Ted. We miss you
you could
too,
have
brother.
fucking tried. You could have helped us a little bit more, guys.
Yeah.
You know, instead of fucking, you know. But they did what they could. It's not like they didn't do anything. It's just they were,
Right.
because I'm finding myself in the same exact position,
Right.
of stepping back and going, I can't do anything. They're
Yeah.
hers. They're
Yeah.
hers. No matter
Right.
what, they're gonna listen to mother. Even
Yeah.
like you said, even if they are coming to you, if it really came down to it, they're still gonna run to their mom.
Yeah.
You know,
Every
unless
time.
unless you're a real piece of shit mom, then like your kids ain't running to their dad. They're running to their mom. You know?
Right.
And
Yeah. And even in like my 20s and 30s, I was developing a resentment kind of towards my dad. Like I kind of started getting angry. Like, you didn't teach me anything about cars. You didn't teach me anything about this, about that. And now, like, literally the last couple of years, I'm thinking back, like, my dad, his parents were raised on a farm. My dad was born on a farm and raised on a farm. And for him to, make the next leap up as far as legacy goes for the family, like, it makes sense. So his dad ran a farm. He was raised on a farm. And then his solution, he's like, I need to do better for my family. I'm going to get a job in a city and get a house and raise my family that way. So he kind of climbed up another rung to, just a better life for our family. And now that puts my role in perspective a little bit. So I'm like, cool, my dad, he nailed it. He supported us in a middle-class home and gave us a good life, a good, normal life. And now what I think my charge is for my family is I need to bring it to the next level. So I want to own a business. I want to own a bigger house. I want to usher my kids into running this business. And I just want to go, another step up from my dad. And I expect my kids, my boys, to do the same thing to me. I'm trying to set the bar pretty high. So when my kids get up to where they're in this space, that they take the, what I left for them and they take it up another level. I think that's the way it's supposed to be. And so I have a lot of empathy now to my dad, just knowing that, because he absolutely did make life better for my family, or for his family.
He sacrificed his life. He sacrificed his life for you guys,
He could have had a happy life on the farm,
Dude, he could have fucking had a happy life on the farm. And that's what gets me sometimes is like,
well, hey, get ready for a whirlwind of excitement and insight with the AWFL podcast, where hosts me, Chris McIntyre, and Lonnie Doyle bring you engaging discussions on content creation, podcast editing, tech trends, apparel designs, and all things technology. While over at the Partial Intelligence podcast, Jason Kahn and myself dive into music, sports, hip-hop beats, and heartfelt family matters. It's a roller coaster of entertainment and enlightenment that you won't want to miss. Subscribe now to the Awful Podcast and Partial Intelligence on your favorite podcast platform and join us for a journey through the worlds of creativity, technology, music, and life. AWFL Podcast and Partial Intelligence, available anywhere you get your podcasts. Your ticket to warm, exciting, and diverse content awaits. Tune in today. Now let's jump back into the episode of Almost Above Average with Chris McIntyre.
not saying he did the wrong thing, but did he do the right thing? Because if you were raised in that environment, in that situation, you might not have ended up drinking. I mean, like
Right.
you did, because you would have had too much other important shit to do when you were
Right.
15 instead of hanging out with fucking Jason.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Piece of shit.
Like, fucking, it's all good.
Yeah.
I can take credit for something, and it
Well-
rolls. And it rolls. If I can say that I'm the reason that fucked your shit up,
That's what I was going to ask. Who do you think is responsible out of us two who was the bad influence out of us two?
well, since you always had the fucking car,
And I was the criminal.
And
I was
you
more
were-
of a criminal than you.
you were the driver. Because I was a little. You were definitely dumber than me. Because I was afraid to go to jail. I was always afraid to go to jail until we went to jail. I was fucking deathly afraid to go to jail because I didn't want to get naked with other dudes. It wasn't
Right.
going to jail. It was getting naked with other dudes.
Right.
That's the
Can't
only
win.
fucking thing that kept me out of fucking juvie, and like it kept me a good criminal to not get caught. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
And it was like, fuck, dude.
Well, I went through I started getting arrested at, what was it? I think 13.
Yeah, exactly. What a
So by the
loser.
time I was 18, I had been arrested like 3 or 4 times.
Exactly.
And then after 18, like it was just normal every year or two, I would get arrested for something. Drinking. Always drinking.
Stupid too. It wasn't little either. Like you like took out telephone poles and shit.
Almost
You know?
myself and other people.
Yeah, I mean, luckily, RIP to those, but luckily the worst one, it wasn't your fault. You know what I mean?
Which one? The car accident?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like luckily, you weren't fucking to blame for that. And that's so weird with how your life was running at that point. Literally,
Yeah.
you were sitting in the parking lot of your job drinking fucking 24s, and I'd come out and visit you, or me and Nicole would come out and visit you, and we'd fucking drink beer and smoke weed in the parking lot of your fucking job.
Yeah. Any job.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Exactly, any job.
Yeah.
And then that job, how did something like that happen that not be on you? When everything else to that point was on you. Literally.
So let's tell I'm going to tell the story since we're talking about it for the listeners.
Yeah, right.
That this car accident I got into, so I was deep into my, addiction, all of them. And that time I was drinking every day at work, taking pills, smoking weed, and smoking meth during that period.
Yeah.
But this one day, for whatever reason, I only took a couple Vicodins this day, and I went to work, and then I left after work about 2:30 in the afternoon. I was driving down 395 between Lake Tahoe and Johnson Lane, and I was going 65 down the freeway, and this guy and his wife, this older couple, pulled out in front of me, and I just saw it too late, and I ended up broadsiding, and I killed the driver. I didn't kill the driver. The driver died, and then his wife and myself, we were both care flighted after that. But that day, even I remember that day when I was on the ground, everybody from work had stopped by because they were driving by, and they saw the accident. And I remember this one kid, he was younger than me, but he was like, dude, you're going to get so much money for this. Just lay on the ground. Just lay on the ground and say your back hurts. Just say your back hurts for the next year or two. And I really took that advice. Like, it was solid advice because I wasn't hurt. Like, I really wasn't hurt. Like, I was sore, like I was banged up a little bit, but I pretended to be hurt. Huh?
More mentally than anything.
Right. And when that guy was implanting this, like, you're going to get so much money for this if you just fake an injury. So I was like, okay, I'm all in. But this injury that I faked, like, it led me into, pain management, which is just getting painkillers from doctors. So it led me down a really bad path of addiction. Just added another addiction.
Yeah.
Because from 2007 until I moved out here, I had been taking painkillers the entire time, and barbiturates, Xanax, and all that kind of stuff. So that whole thing was just horrible. But back to the reason why I'm telling the story is because that day I didn't drink or smoke weed during the day. Like, it should have been a DUI with a fatal car accident, or a fatal car wreck. But I had only taken a couple Vicodins, and I remember in the hospital that night while we were there, I was terrified because I had just smoked meth a couple days ago. I know I had weed in my system. I know I have alcohol in my system from the night before, and I knew I took those Vicodins. And I knew that guy had passed away. So I'm in the hospital freaking out that I'm going to go to prison. And my parents hired 2 attorneys. And a couple weeks later, we went to go get the official report from the state troopers, because that would decide, if it was my fault and I'm going to have to face, wrongful death or whatever that is. Or if, they saw it how it was, which they did. On the report, it said clearly that drugs and alcohol were not a factor in this accident, and that, they just pulled out in front of me. It was a whole bad experience for everyone. But dude, the luck that I wasn't drunk or high at that time.
That's what I'm saying. That's
like
the only day you weren't drunk or high, fucking every day. That day.
I can't believe there was 10 minutes that I wasn't drunk,
Oh, and mind you, on a side note, just to let our listeners know, that's why I keep this guy around. It makes me feel better about myself.
Because I'm a big dumb idiot.
You're a fucking dumb idiot. No, but for real, like, it's just crazy the shit that we go through and, you know, and live through and are able to talk about, you know, like, because it's weird because in this situation that seems like such a big thing, because it is, it's a very big thing.
Right.
You could talk to somebody in 5 minutes that would make that seem like, oh, that happens all the time, you know?
Yeah.
That's just explaining how fucked up shit is all I'm getting at, is the shit that we live through as people and humans and just are able to keep going. You know what I mean? Like,
right. You know, my mom always said that after that accident that I haven't been the same. And I wonder if that's true. Because I don't remember what I was like before that. You know? I mean, I know I was getting high and getting drunk and all that stuff. But I don't know how I changed after that. I know that it affected me a lot. I didn't drive for a year and a half after that accident.
Exactly. I remember that.
Yeah. That was strange. But it was one of those formative things. It helped make me who I am today, I'm sure.
For sure. For
Yeah.
sure.
I wrote a song about it that I sing every day still. So I'm always reminded of it. You know?
You know, because that's something, even me though, man, I fucking think about that shit a lot more than I should. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's fucking weird. You know, like, it's just weird.
The severity of it, like, I get it from you guys. Like, I don't view it, I mean, maybe I do now, but I just viewed it as a car accident. But when I talk to people like you, or like RJ would always get big about it, and my mom, like, when they talk about it, it's like, God, that was a big deal. Like, they make sure that I know that it was a bigger deal than I think it was.
Yeah,
I mean, I know it's a big deal.
You can't be humble about it. Like, oh, like, no, because it's one of those things that, like, you don't go out and fucking boast about it, but you also, like, you are humble about it, but in a different way of humbleness, I guess. I don't know. Partial intelligence.
Partial, everyone.
Coming at you.
It's not the whole thing, guys. We're coming at you with a little bit of intelligence. All right. If you want the intelligence podcast, watch the Almost Above Average podcast.
Almost Above Average podcast with this guy.
Podcast.
And that's a wrap for today's insightful episode of Partial Intelligence with Chris and Jason. We hope you enjoyed our discussion on mental health, parenting, and the journey of self-discovery. If you found value in our conversation, we kindly ask for your support in the form of a 5-star review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback means the world to us and helps us to reach more listeners like you. Don't forget to share this episode with a loved one or a friend who might benefit from our discussions. And let's continue to grow and build this vibrant community together. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, stay curious, stay compassionate, and keep exploring the depths of your mind and heart with partial intelligence. Thanks.
Inside me, trying to kill me while I recite this. Like Dexter's dark passenger, it's living inside me, waiting for an opportunity to break in his silence. Yo, try to stay straight and narrow this time, but my De Niro situation's got some negative vibes. I got this devil on my shoulder, but he never keeps quiet. Where all my angels that surround me, keep pushing me higher, please help me, yo, I'm begging right now. I don't want to go backwards, so I'm letting it out. As far as drugs and alcohol go, I'm setting it down. I've wasted way too many nights stressing everyone out. And yes, they left scars, even some you can see. They cut deep casualties of addiction's disease. I'm still sick, but I'm filled with the skill set to kill it. If I can make it 24 hours, then I'll still win. So grab a bottle, grab a pen, and let it begin. This next chapter, give it all that I am, all that I've been. Experience is all that I bring. To leave the pain in the past, but don't forget what it did.
Then it fix the flaws, but the fatal fights bring a reason, seeing all the claws. Some signs, fortune fire, more desire and decline. On the chase for more storage wars, hardcore, parkour. No, it ain't me though, what you see though. The great Bambino speaks so credo, being Blandino. These folks deep throat need C notes, sitting in casinos, trying to be heroes, winding up zeros. Gotta find design to incline. Bobby De Niro, being so bleak though, sitting so sleep though. You got no knees, your spirit too weak, so think before you speak, bro. Even goes for me, no excuse. The abuse on my mental is useless, so damn dark, reclusive, difficult for some to understand. Obtuse conclusion.
There is no other substitution, no other resolution. I don't find this shit amusing no more. I don't find this shit amusing no more. I don't find this shit amusing no more. There's a time for you to play. There's a time for you to pray. At the finish line, what you say? What would you say? Can I give it one more try? I promise that I do it better this time. Can I give it one more try? One more try. Take two, keep it simple and true. I'm different than you. My mission is proof. No longer listen to fools. I'm hitting the cruise control. No, I'm not hitting the snooze. I may be bending some rules. Just understand that's how I'm moving. Get out my way if you don't contribute to my plate. Adding to my happiness will match my energy. Yeah, that's how it has to be. Don't need them one to clap for me. Already seen catastrophe. I made it, but it's happening. I did the math and walked the path, and now it's happening. Awakened from disaster, now my masterpiece is activated. This is my habitat, get acclimated. My spirit's elevated, filled to the top and saturated. Yup, I drink my Haterade for breakfast every day until I feel it in my veins and watch it fuel it up my brain. And my noodles full of rage and my computer's full of playlists. Future's full of greatness, abuse of the music language. There's a time for you to play. There's a time for you to pray. At the finish line, what you say? What would you say? Can I give it one more try? I promise that I do it better. Can I give it one more try?